Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty. You suck.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce
and Patrick Kay.
You can contact us on email at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. Okay, so finally The Witcher 3 has come out, and I think we've all been playing it. I don't know how much you guys have played of it. I'm still in the starting area myself. I've only put in about probably 7 hours.
I've done about 20, I think.
Yeah, I'm probably about the sort of 7, 8 mark, I think.
I'm just loading up.
So are you still in the starting area as well?
Yeah, I'm still in. Yeah, still around Belen and what it was called. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've just been sort of. I'm not one. Well, the last sort of open world game I played, I was trying to avoid a lot of the side stuff, but I found like going over to all those little question marks and stuff, like there's some cool stuff going on at some of them, and like you can sort of really sort of power up like some of your abilities and things like that. So I've been a bit sidetracked really, and and I've just been sort of loving the world they've created, and I just feel like I want to take my time with it really.
Okay.
Well, I think a great adventure game is a bit like making a great shepherd's pie.
Sorry, listeners, I was almost delayed tonight because I've been trying to cook for once in my sorry life, and it was taking me a bit longer than anticipated. So I'm starving tonight. So if there's any aggro from me, it's because I haven't eaten dinner yet.
And if there's moments of silence for me, it's because I am eating my dinner at the moment. But yeah, like the side quest stuff, it did feel a lot less token than some of the stuff in Witcher 2. Do you know what I mean? It felt a lot less forced and a bit more well drawn.
Yeah.
Well, I just did the one with the like sort of wraith at the well. And it just sort of made me realise that, like this game has got some really sort of interesting mechanics, like the way that you use your abilities, like the fact that you have to sort of trap them in that area, and otherwise they summon stuff, and you have to, sort of just. There's a lot more going on than just sort of mindless hack and slash, although there's quite a lot of that as well. I'm really into the combat. I know they've refined it over the games, but I'm really digging it this time round because like they put a lot of emphasis on sort of watching what the enemies are doing, and I mean when you fight those drowners, they sort of dodge around like you do, so you kind of have to wait for an opening, and they can be quite pesky actually, and I've died quite a lot to be honest, mostly on account of me not being used to the way in which you don't really regenerate health. You have to like actively do it. You have to eat and stuff.
Yeah.
And the amount of times I've gone into a counter and gone, I can take these, and it's like, oh, but I've only got like a fraction of my health bar, and it's like, oh bollocks, it's all gone pear-shaped. But no, just like, I mean, I'm blown away with how it looks. Like a lot of people have been complaining like about this game in the same way they did with Watch Dogs, but I don't know. For me, I only was just basing like my expectations on stuff that I've seen quite recently, and all of that. I'd say like it looks definitely as good as what we saw at EGX so far.
Yeah.
I haven't got to that big city yet. Have you got there yet?
I have. I spent quite a lot of time there actually, just wandering around looking at stuff.
The one with the ships.
Yeah, Novigrad it's called.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I can't wait to get there.
It feels like a living, breathing city. There's some interesting characters. There's a House of the Ladies, if you require that sort of assistance with stuff. And so there's some really beautiful views there.
If you need help making your shepherd's pie.
Yeah, with your sax. I have some concerns to raise, but let's keep singing its praises, and I'll just tag them on at the end. Pat, what do you think? I know you're eating. I can see you're eating. Deliberately after you start.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Pat,
gorgeous.
you there, Pat?
It's a gorgeous game. It's a gorgeous game. I find like the characters are in it compared to a lot of like AAA stuff, like namely Ubisoft stuff. They're a lot less pantomime, I think, in a lot of cases. And that kind of goes against it as well. Some of the missions can feel a little bit drawn out. They can feel a little bit stretched. But I think overall it's got a great kind of vibe about it. It's got a great atmosphere. It's got that whole kind of Game of Thrones thing where it's not really a kind of a beautiful escapism into a world. Its appeal is really its grittiness and its darkness, like just with the previous Witchers. But it's very, very obviously the best of the three, I think.
Yeah, there's also been some concerns raised about like how open world it is. Is it open world enough for you, Ian? Do you find that it's because? I mean, my definition of a good open world game is one that sort of like makes use of that open world rather than just being a giant world that's full of like things that you've got to do. And I found like a lot of the missions like can often involve like chases and stuff. It's like I've been playing GTA at the same time, and it sort of reminds me of that like quite a lot in places, just like the way that they've approached it.
I don't know. I would agree with that. I think because a lot of the open world is a forest or a lot of fields with some trees in, it's easy for me at least to appreciate it as being an open world, for it is a world that is open. But because there are no landmarks and stuff, it doesn't feel the same way as GTA, where I know if I want to go for a drive and just relax, I can drive around the mountain. Or if I want to be a bit crazy, I can take a drive up the mountain, because I know where the mountain is. I know the road goes round it. Maybe I just haven't... I've spent a lot of hours in GTA 5 with the PS3 version and this version for the online side of it. So I kind of know where stuff is. Maybe I'm still... I've only done 15 hours. Maybe I'm still exploring the world, and as I do more stuff, I will get... I will have a better idea of the landmarks. I know I have just been... one of my concerns... I won't do all of them now, but one of them is it's very easy to get into a situation where you spend about 90 minutes going through a quest thread or a quest chain, and you arrive at the finale and, he's the boss, 15 more levels than you have. Fuck balls. There is no way I'm going to take him down. I wish there had been a signpost slightly earlier that said, the 90 minutes you're about to spend on this quest are fruitless, because when you arrive at the end, he will smite you with one slight waft of his hand. I find that quite frustrating.
Oh, that's a shame.
It's okay, because the quest chain was reasonably interesting and I would do it again, but that taught me, and I would suggest it to others if they haven't got there already, save every 5 minutes, because it's that old school. You can frequently... there's a quest in the city where you just wander down an alley and there's some thugs there going, oh, you want stuff and this, and you go, yeah, right then, and then it just seems like an interaction thing to set something else up. But as you're leaving, another group of thugs come along and they go, we're not having your type here, and it all kicks off. And they were 15 or 20 levels higher than me, so I didn't even get a chance to draw my sword, and one of them had just flicked me with his finger and down I went, and I was fucking annoyed. Maybe I shouldn't be in the city yet, but one of the things about an open world game is you can go anywhere. They have said that you'll find yourself in areas where you realise that you're too low level, but it was just that one quest. I wish I'd known sooner, because I spent quite a lot of time and I died a number of times just because I was playing like a twat. And when I arrived at the boss and thought, I've made it, I've got to the boss, I just can't do anything. He's too powerful, even with the mage that I have with me casting stuff to distract him. I just can't get my head around how I'm supposed to do it, because he is too high level, and he recharges. He spawns shit that I can't. I don't have enough, or I didn't have enough potions and bits of bread lying around to keep my health buffed. and he was too powerful for me to do the stuff that I now usually do, where I stun them and attack them and run away and do bits like that. So I found that a little frustrating. However, it was okay. It's not a... They have warned us that's going to be a thing, so I should pay more attention.
They do emphasise preparation a lot at the start, and there's quite a lot to actually take in. I found like some of the interface elements a little bit clunky, like the screen where you get to choose what you upgrade.
Yep.
There's like that's like a tabbed sort of thing, but it really doesn't look like it. And I didn't realise, there's more things here that I can upgrade,
So I've got 4 points in crossbow and another one on another combat one, because I didn't realise you could move across there. I thought you were just upgrading your, like, the weapons tab. And that might be causing me some grief now, because my crossbow is beautiful, but frequently I don't have enough time to reload it and smack people in the face with it, so... It was good for killing the griffin, whatever that was, if that happened, spoiler, but it hasn't really been useful anywhere else.
Are there any potions of respec anywhere? Because they had that in Dragon Age, where you could just go, I fucked it all up, let me try that again.
If there are, I would certainly spend my points differently. And maybe it's worth a Google to see if there are.
Yeah, I ended up taking... Because one of the things you learn early on is like these mutagens, where I think you can spend them to make like uber potions, but you can also put them in a slot. And then if you have abilities of that colour mutagen, you get a bonus to the stat that mutagen does. So, like in mine, it gives you like... I've got twice as much hit points now.
Yeah.
And that's early on. I guess I was a little more careful with what I was doing, but... Really, there is an awful lot of like mechanics and stuff to be explained. I found myself picking up loads and loads of crap that I'm not willing to sell, partly because a lot of merchants won't buy it off you, and also because everything you pick up, it's like, but you can use this in crafting. So it's like, well, I don't want to get rid of anything then, So
it is.
Because I know it'll get to a point and it'll be like, you can make this amazing sword, but you need to have all this shit.
It does have attached the loot hoovers about it, where you just want to pick
there's
everything
so
up.
much loot. And it's also annoying how when you click on a container, you have to use... I'm playing with a controller, so it's like the green button.
Yeah.
And then you have to press yellow to pick up all, and I'm finding that stretch starting to give me a little bit of RSI.
Or you can just keep whacking the A button, like I do. I just keep whacking the A.
Well, yeah, I suppose. That's probably what I should do, actually.
I think what you said about there's so much stuff to take in, I think that's been my problem with that might have been my problem with how I've been playing it so far, because traditionally, I generally click through shit. The voice animation is good, some of the conversations are good, but especially if you're redoing things, I'm just clicking through stuff to get to the thing that I can actually interact with, apart from fucking conversation trees. So I'm pretty sure I've missed or skimmed over some of the stuff that means, like the mutagen stuff. I have a mutagen locked, but it's not the right colour for stuff I've got equipped, so obviously that's not doing as much as it could. So I think my inability to play the game properly is probably down to my infrequent dabbling with proper RPGs, which this kind of is. I think Skyrim has more depth than this, probably, but this world feels more lived in.
It's not Fable either, but it's...
Skyrim's kind of got more like options.
Skyrim's kind of like an RPG sandbox, really, isn't it? Like you can totally break so many systems.
For me in Skyrim, I always felt like I was just watching other people doing stuff. And I know it's kind of your story and you are the thing and all the rest of it, blah, but I could walk through a village and people would kind of be doing things, and I felt that if I left that village, they would still be doing those things. It's the tree in the forest. Does it make any sound if you're not there? With The Witcher, I always feel like it's a bit like a Stallone movie where everybody goes, The Witcher has arrived. We will behave differently because The Witcher is here. And that's all right, because we need some games like that. But
I quite like how some NPCs just say, don't touch me. Like, get away from me, you freak. It's like, all right, then I won't talk to anyone. Yeah. Fine. It's kind of cool.
Some of the character stuff is pretty good, definitely.
Yeah, no, I think he is a good character. I've always been quite enamoured with this series, and I mean, I I didn't pre-order it. Well, I did pre-order it once I got paid, and I realised I was definitely getting it. But you know, I was sold the moment I knew that there was another Witcher game coming out. To be honest, so
I think I pre-ordered it this time last year.
I've played through all of the others. Yeah, thinking it might have come out a bit sooner, but no, I'm glad.
Right.
I think how has it been for you, like stably? Because I must say, I'm running it on everything.
Did you say
and
stably
I'm getting
or stability? I have a horse
stability
and I put it in a stable.
I
Is that what you mean?
My horse does whatever the fuck it wants most of the time. It's quite
We'll
funny
come to
how
that.
when it won't come sometimes because it's found some hay,
Yeah.
or it's having a little bath in the stream, and it's like, come on!
Wow.
But then he audibly says, "Oh, come on!" Like he hates it anyway.
Yeah.
Like, so it's kind of weird, like the AI.
So have you
on
had
that.
stability
But
issues
sorry,
with it?
just well, I mean, I've been running it on everything, with everything up. Sorry, I'm not getting like 60 frames per second, but for me, I'm playing with a controller anyway. I'm happy. It's not dipped below 30. And
Have you got the bollock-achingly awful motion blur in the distance stuff going on? Have you?
I've turned the motion blur off. That was the only
I
thing
don't
I
know why
turned off.
people add that. Does anybody actually use that and go, "Wow, that looks amazing"? Jesus,
Hate motion blur. Absolutely hate it.
it's gratuitous.
I think I
It's
turned that
definitely,
one down, and there was something else. Oh, the hair was pretty costly, I think, on everyone else. So I have it only on Geralt. But
Yeah.
I think other
right.
than that, everything else is. Oh no, there's something else as well I turned down that made a massive difference. I think it was the sharpening thing.
Right.
Oh, right. Some people have said that reducing the foliage distance helps.
Foliage.
And
Well, it's still the foliage. I
foliage.
Yeah.
think people are reducing foliage as well.
Yeah, and the hair. Yeah, a lot of
Foil
people are
can be
turning
quite
the hair
nasty,
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have had a few crashes. Is
Oh,
the
wow,
only thing,
shit, really?
which has been annoying. But the auto saving has prevented any like tears. Put it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing about the auto
even
saving
without
is that
me saving
the auto
regularly.
saving only really happens when you do something of substance within the game. If you're just roaming around the world, not just what's over there, I've not found the auto saving to be of any use at all. For me, it's,
okay.
or in my experience, which might be rubbish, if I start a quest, it'll autosave. If I finish a quest, it'll autosave. If I meditate or something that's substantial, it'll do something. But if I go over and have a look at that lighthouse where there's a massive demon on top, and I go in and think, "Oh, I'll have it," and then I die, I'm right back where I was an hour ago because I haven't saved in between, and I've just been wandering around aimlessly, going, "What's over there? What's over there? Oh, shiny!" Because I like doing that in this kind of game.
I've been caught out a couple of times, but yeah, it's been weird. I think like it crashed once in a cutscene, and then it started me off like at the beginning of that
Have you got the
cutscene,
Steam
and it
version?
crashed me once. Like, no, I'm running it with GOG Galaxy.
Is there a thing to
I thought
verify
I'd
the
give that a
files
look.
there?
I don't know.
'Cause I had
it doesn't seem that comprehensive.
Because I had a lot of issues with GTA 5 where I'd join a game online and the race would start and then I'd crash without fail every time, which was not a great online experience. But then friend of the show, Radchek, hello mate, had found this thing that lets you verify the files for GTA Online. Verified those, found one that hadn't downloaded properly, replaced it, all good to go, no crashes at all. So you know, if it's crashing all the time on your rig, which isn't a pony rig really, that it sounds like there's something else going on. Tech support only available for Mr. Howard. Other tech support companies are available.
No, it's not been that bad. I mean, it's been like, I think it's happened a couple of times in the 7 hours I've been playing it,
Right.
so that's tolerable.
Okay.
But yeah, GOG Galaxy's been fairly decent, to be honest. I know some people have had trouble with it. My friend of the show, John,
It does run all the time though, doesn't it?
is on our other podcast. It does.
I've had to uninstall mine because I have enough
does.
shit running all the time.
Oh, right, fair enough. No, well, I've not really had much problem.
Okay.
But no, any other thoughts about The Witcher?
If everybody's finished bigging it up, I'll throw some shit on the fire if that's all right.
Well, okay. Before you do that, I just want to say that I'm having a really good time with it so far. It's definitely got its old RPG quirks but I'm really digging it. It's kind of everything I hoped it would be, to be honest. And it's such a pretty game. Like, it makes me think, I'm glad I bought my 970 now.
Cool. Good.
So, yeah.
I would agree with that. It's a good looking game. It's been fun to play. However, there are some niggles that I thought I would get used to after 2 hours of going, fuck, why is that happening? But after 17 hours, they just don't go away. For me, the main one, and this is just, maybe it's just me, is the picking up of fucking herbs. When I approach a bush, and I have walked through that bush, I would expect to be able to stand in the bush and pick up the herbs the bush contains. The Witcher would prefer you to walk to the bush, glance at the you can pick something up thing that appears as you walk through it, and then you must walk back out of the bush until you are sufficiently far away from the bush where it says, you can pick some stuff up. Would you please fuck right off? It does that all the time. I haven't found a bush yet that works like a fucking bush. You need to be kind of arm's length away and facing just almost directly at centre, and then you can pick stuff up. Just go fuck yourself. It's not right. It's not how it works. It's not how any pickup thing has ever worked in anything. But it works like that here. And I find that quite swear-inducing.
It's also a bit annoying. I can understand your frustration because there's a lot of sort of detective mode stuff as well, which also suffers from the same problem. But I do love the detective stuff.
Absolutely.
I love that there's that kind of the way Geralt talks to himself, and stuff. There was one I did where he was going, "Oh yes, looks like signs of a struggle. There's a stab wound in his abdomen," and then this old woman goes, "You what?" It was like hilarious.
And that's all good. However, Arkham Asylum did that many years ago, better than they do it here.
A lot better. Yeah.
So that.
True.
It's great, and the kind of glowy shit and stuff is fine. I've had a couple of instances where I've been doing that, and I think I've fast travelled somewhere else, and it's just stayed on. It's just been always on after that, so that's a bit rubbish. So the bushes are my main gripe, and I'm a red-blooded man. I shouldn't really be griping about bush, but my other main concern is the fucking controls on a controller.
Yes,
it's
I was
like
gonna say.
They have spent so much time on how it looks and the hair, the fucking hair, and so many trees blowing in the ever-present wind, that whoever was supposed to make the controls work like every other third-person game works, has got to the bit where they were working enough for testing, and then they've paid no more attention to that. My main issue for this is I'm playing a lot of GTA 5, and if I walk up to a lamppost in GTA 5, I'm looking at the lamppost, and I just tweak the controller to the left, and then I'm looking to the left of the lamppost. In The Witcher, I walk up to something and look to the left, and I'm pirouetting away from it like I'm an action fucking hero. This is not how controllers work. You shouldn't need to give precise, gentle movements to just look to the left. It feels sluggish and kind of like they've just not finished it. So...
The way I felt about that controls is that it felt a lot more comfortable when you're actually in combat, but it seems like they just didn't bother with the walking around the world bit. Like there's so many bits when I'm just trying to get up a ladder or fucking just down just
or
a
trying to pick some
path,
fucking herbs up.
Just completely miss it, and it's like it's like fucking Tomb Raider 1 again or something. It's really not a very comfortable situation when you're just trying to travel around the world.
But I have played it for 17 hours. Maybe I've just got used to it. But that I frequently just
sounds like you haven't. To be honest,
it grates on me because if I wasn't playing GTA 5 not as well as this, but
you do get used to it. You get used to anything like that, but it's like it shouldn't be there.
When I then go and play GTA Online the one night a week I'm playing it with Radders, the controls in that are just spotless, and I'm sure the 200 million they spent on the budget, a very small fraction of that would have been spent on the controls. The controls in The Forest are flawless. The controls in much smaller games feel responsive, but this just feels like nobody... I don't think this has happened, but it feels like a focus group have said, it looks glorious, and nobody said, yeah, but the controls are a bit shit, so they've just spent more money making it look glorious. And it does look glorious, and that, I'm not dismissing its gloriousness with its visuals, but once you've seen,
Fable felt better.
yeah, once you've seen,
Basically.
there's only so many times you can see the sunset through the trees and the lighting effects and all the rest of it, and that's all beautiful.
Still blows me away, man.
And
But
me,
then
but-
I've only spent 2 days
but-
with it, so
At some point, you need to turn around, and if turning around is a fucking chore, I want to go and do something else. I will stick with it because I did spend quite a lot of money on it, and I like the character, and there's more good things than bad things. But I think for me, I can't really be too excited about the visuals when I can't pick fucking herbs up, and I can't really use my controller without it flying around like a spastic. The other one is to do with pathing of stuff. So normally with a character, you'd tell it to go from A to B, and it would go to B and A to B and not walk through shit. I've been on my horse and managed to get it to go down a cliff, and as I've fallen off the cliff, my horse has tilted up like it's a space shuttle or a space rocket, and I've gone down on the horse's arse.
Oh, no.
And when I've landed at the bottom, it has righted itself. What the fuck? Really? The other one is to do with the horse, as you've said about I think you've been much more forgiving with it when it's getting water and stuff. I've pressed the button to get on the back of the horse, and then my hero has stood in the centre of the horse and just walked around inside it because he can't find the thing around the horse to actually get on and then get on the back of the horse. I know these are small things, and maybe it's a 1 in 1,000 chance, but it really breaks the immersion for me. It takes it away from how it looks and the story and stuff and all of these things where I can't get in front of a notice board correctly without triggering the fucking thing right next to it to pick stuff up. Maybe my controls need to be tweaked, and the default settings are for people with oversensitive somethings, but I'm not really expecting to have to tweak the analog sticks on a controller for a game that has primarily been made for the consoles, they've said, otherwise it wouldn't have been made, and that's fine. I don't think the consoles are the issue here. I think there's some... I'm hoping that at some point in the coming weeks there will be some bugs to address this. Once the internet rage for, that's not how it looked a couple of years ago, has subsided, and they've done everything they can to appease those fuck nuggets who think that's actually something that should be addressed. And that's okay. That's fine. I would recommend it, but have a bit of patience if you prefer things slightly more refined, I think, apart from visuals. That's it. That's all I got. Sorry, guys.
No, I appreciate what you're saying, because it's all right. No, I appreciate what you're saying. You've spent more time with the game than we have, so I can imagine some of that stuff getting quite annoying. It's worth pointing out that they are continually patching this game. They've definitely patched it at least twice since I've started playing it. So they've definitely done. They're putting like a patch out like nearly every day.
Yeah, and that's...
I did notice quite a big change from the last one as well, actually, in terms of performance. Because I don't think it's, since I've patched it, I don't think it's dipped below 60 at all.
Oh, sorry, there is one more thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's the trees and the wind effects. Now, the trees and the foliage, if you prefer, they all look amazing. The stuff blowing, and it feels like a windy world, and everything's, it's gritty and the shit flying around, and that's awesome.
It
But
does look amazing.
it's great. It does look absolutely amazing. However, when I'm standing in the tower of a castle and the only window is a tiny little slit in the wall, why is his fucking hair blowing around and nobody else's? Why is his hair blowing around? Has he got the trumps? Is there a fan next to him? Is there a woman with a big cardboard blowing at him? It just looks ridiculous.
The demons.
Yeah, probably. But just turn the fucking thing off if he's in somewhere where the wind isn't going to get there, and the candles are just moving like this next to his head while his hair goes around like he's in a wind tunnel. Oh, it's just ridiculous. I know NVIDIA Hairworks has... it looks like they've provided this software to CD Projekt Red, so they can include it in this game. And it looks beautiful, and I suppose in years to come, many things will use this, and it will look amazing. But it doesn't need to be on all the time, especially when you're indoors, for fuck's sake. Here endeth my rants. Thanks for listening.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
No, I guess it sounds like you spent a lot of time with the game, and you've got a fair few irritations with it. But
it wasn't that bad.
It's no Skyrim. There was a lot of talk of it being the next Skyrim, and it isn't really. It's a gorgeous game. It lacks the kind of coherent worldness, I think, of Skyrim. It doesn't have that sort of, you could just wander off in any direction and just get an experience in just doing that's rewarding enough. I don't think it really has that in the same way that Skyrim
Well, from Ian's
does.
experience, it sounds like that way leads to death.
Yeah, that way leads to massively higher level characters, but sort of lacks those sort of major landmarks that kind of make it feel like a coherent world. It's consistent in its kind of in terms of the way it draws its characters, and I haven't found any quests that felt pointless or just tagged on. Some of them have gone on for a little bit too long, maybe, but they're generally all pretty well thought out. I definitely think it's the best of the three.
I think everybody that's saying it's better than Skyrim perhaps haven't spent as much time in Skyrim with as many things that make it look beautiful.
And they also haven't spent as much time with previous Witcher games, because really this series up until now has been a bit of a curiosity, I think, in the big picture. And all of a sudden it's got all this hype. They've marketed the hell out of it, and well, good on them for doing so, because they've obviously got a product that's worth marketing. I think it may be there may be an element of expectations just being blown out of all proportion, but I think it's a fantastic game that deserves to stand shoulder to shoulder with games like Grand Theft Auto, to be quite honest, and Skyrim.
Yeah.
It's just not Skyrim. So,
and it's not GTA either.
Yeah.
and that's not a bad thing, because GTA, at least, its budget was millions and millions of dollars, which I think they could probably buy the country where this was made off the budget from GTA, and that's okay. But I think it's a good sequel to the other Witchers. It's a good RPG in its own right. It's worth investing in, but if you're easily annoyed, as apparently I am at the moment, it might be worth waiting for a few more patches.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Pat, did you want to say anything about the Old Blood? I know you played that.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. It's like a shorter, kind of condensed version of the last Wolfenstein, with basically the character of Return to Castle Wolfenstein, which is one of my favourite games of all time.
But it's actually in Castle Wolfenstein this time, isn't it?
That's right. So
some of it.
It feels a lot more like the vibe of the original. So yeah, it's absolutely awesome. Really beautiful looking game as well. Definitely the best looking thing I've played this year. It's the whole kind of dual weapon thing wielding in it, I thought was even more kind of pronounced and even more fun than the first one.
Yeah, it was excellent with the dual shotguns and stuff. It was insane last time round.
But yeah, there's just more of that, and I felt the weapons felt better than the last one. It like I say, it was really just like a condensed version of the other one, and I do think that the previous one didn't maybe need to be quite as long as it was. But yeah, like, it's absolutely awesome. Really, really recommend it.
Did you finish it?
Yes, I did. Yeah, couple of evenings. It's pretty short.
Yeah, I heard it was sort of like around the 7-hour mark, or something like that. Maybe a bit quicker if you ignore a lot of the side stuff. But yeah, it sounds like that's like maybe more of like the correct length for something like this. Maybe. Do you think? And do you think it's better than the New Order?
I just felt that it was more kind of consistent than the New Order. It was just more punchy and fun all the way through it, if that makes sense. And also because it did the whole kind of the whole sort of supernatural settings thing, which, that for me, that was what Wolfenstein was about. So for that to not really be in the previous game was always a bit disappointing to me, even though I love the previous game. But yeah, it's the one that I wish the other one was, even though I really enjoyed the last one. But yeah, it's really good.
Total Biscuit did not a Let's Play, a WTF is, I think, and one of the things he was saying was that I haven't played either of them, so it's all based on what other people have said, but I have a question in here, it's coming. He'd said that one of the things he'd said was that the previous one had it had many different locations, so it felt like you were globe-trotting and going to different things and different environments and stuff, where this is just one location. Was that an issue for you, or was because the location was what it was, you were just fanboy sated with it?
Exactly, yeah. Like
Right.
it was the right location as far as my brain was concerned. Yeah, no, I really really loved it, and graphics wise, it is absolutely gorgeous. Like I say, it's definitely the prettiest thing I've played this year. I actually took myself off to Unity and tried to copy some of the things I saw in it, which is pretty good praise, I think, for anything.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, really, really enjoyed it. There was some really cool stealth bits in it, actually. There's these kind of Ubersoldats, which are hardwired into these massive generators. And you can switch the generators off and it'll basically like knock them out for a few moments. But there was these really kind of cool segments where you're kind of trying to sneak past these massively heavily armored dudes with huge miniguns and switch off their generators. And then you've got a little bit of time to run over and switch off the next generator. It was, really, really good stuff. Really good stuff. And just bags of atmosphere. And
Cool.
Big fan.
Excellent.
I really enjoyed how the stealth worked in the New Order, where like you would sort of try. That's sort of how you would first approach it. Well, that's how I did. But then like it would quickly all go to hell, and then it would turn into absolute madness. But no, glad you enjoyed that. I just wanted to quickly mention that I finished Pillars of Eternity. Unlike Divinity, like Divinity, it perhaps outstayed its welcome to some small extent, but unlike Divinity, I really, really enjoyed it right until the very end. I didn't do all of the little side missions. There's this 15 level dungeon that I talked about when I first talked about the game. I got to the bottom of it. The boss basically at the end of that is impossible apparently without a full level 12 party, and I didn't have a full level 12 party, nor could I be asked to get a full level 12 party because I was so close to the end and there was too many other games that I wanted to play, like The Witcher and GTA. So I thought I'll just cut my losses and finish it, and it was good. The end encounter at the game was difficult enough as it was, so I certainly felt like I got enough challenge out of it. I certainly got enough story out of it. The story in it is brilliant and is going to continue in sequels and add-ons, I think. But yeah, no, they did really well with it, and I think it's established Obsidian as a creator of original content, finally.
And done a great job for the Unity game engine as well.
Yeah, I saw a Q&A somewhere. They were saying that they maybe will swap out for Unity 5 for the sequel, but there's no plans to do that while they're developing more content for this iteration.
Yeah.
So,
Unity 5 will only make it look better, because there is a make stuff look better button in Unity 5. There isn't. Developers, there isn't. But...
no, I could definitely tell that they'd fully used it, because I watched they released a few weeks after they released the game. They made available a making of documentary, and it explained. It was interesting to sort of because the backgrounds are 2D, but they are rendered out 3D environments built in Unity, so they're not hand drawn. So that was interesting, and also I think I could definitely tell that they were reaching the limit of its capabilities, or the capabilities of my computer, because even though it's like a 2D game, once in some of the later battles, there's so much going on, so many enemies, so many spell effects going on at once. You're laying down like walls of fire and fireballs going off, electricity. It's absolutely insane. Some of the battles at the end. Yeah, it really was. And there was bits where it was like, because I mean, I'm pausing quite a lot in combat, and but like towards the later game, you are so powerful that you can kind of afford, like, you just slow it down, and you can kind of afford to just issue orders like in a more leisurely fashion. But it was quite something to behold, actually. Some of the later
do you think it was value for money? Did you get it at full price, or did you get it as a backer of something, or did you?
I backed it, but honestly, I think I had about 75 hours I spent, and so I think even if I'd bought it as a £35 game, I would not have been disappointed.
Okay, cool.
I think I probably experienced about 95% of the content in the game. Some of it, there was some companion quests I didn't bother with just because I didn't really have those companions in my party.
Right.
I could have made up my whole own party, and I didn't bother. I only made 2, and the characters you get in the game are kind of good enough and interesting enough. And why have like a bunch of mute sort of bots of your own creation when you've got their own sort of, you know, companions with dialogue and quests and stuff as well. So it's cool for like maybe doing the Endless Paths dungeon where you could just sort of make up your own configuration of party, but they covered most bases anyway.
Cool. So will you be dabbling in any extras they release for it, or have you parked it now and you'll be playing other stuff?
I have parked it for now, but I will definitely be going back to that world, definitely.
Okay.
I'm really interested in the fiction they've set up, and I want to know more.
Cool.
So I'll definitely be going back. Same as like Shadowrun, which for my money is still the perfect sort of meeting point of these different versions of isometric RPG, because Shadowrun has the story and character stuff of Pillars of Eternity, and it also has the turn-based combat of Divinity. Right. So it's the happy medium, and Shadowrun Hong Kong is out sometime this summer, so I'm very much looking forward to some more. Excellent. Okay, we've gone quite long. Is there anything else anyone's playing?
I did try Technolust Thought Crimes. They released a really cool little game, and it really, really, really impressed me, basically just because it looked as good as the PC Technolust game, almost anyway. And the fact that it was running on mobile and at 60 FPS was actually quite amazing. It was a really simple, basic kind of game. Basically, you had to search through video footage, CCTV footage, looking for known criminals. And when you spot those known criminals that you're comparing to a database, you can send out a drone and basically issue an arrest on them.
Papers, please, then?
It was very much like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're sort of sitting in your chair with your big sort of cyberpunk computer station in front of you, and this the cool cyberpunk stuff that's in the full Technolust game, and I just love the whole vibe of that world as well. It's basically Blade Runner. It is absolute gorgeous late 80s, early 90s cyberpunk, like just perfection essentially. But that really, really impressed me, even though it's a really, really simple game. But just from a technical point of view, just amazing to see that like mobile VR can look that good already.
Cool.
There's a few other things as well, but like I said, most of them are kind of experiential things or like movies or whatever. No, I didn't try too many games, but another one, like one of the things I tried was like a Van Gogh painting. It's called In the Nighttime Cafe, I think, and you're basically just walking through a Van Gogh painting, and it's just a really kind of beautiful style. And I'd love to actually see a game in that style. Actually, it'd be really cool. But yeah, that was just they just really kind of popped out to me. But yeah, cool stuff.
Excellent.
Cool, okay. Sounds great. This has been the Not Playing Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk. You can contact us on email at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. Also, I just wanted to point out that our soundtrack is now being done by Miracle of Sound. Thanks Gav for letting us use your music.
Cheers, Gav.
Okay, cool. That's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya. Bye.
I suck at Call of Duty.